moving from spooky season to Michigan controversy season to spirit of the holiday season with our favorite Pro Bowl left tackle for the Tennessee Titans, co-host of Bussin' with the Boys, your boy, Taylor Lewan. How are ya?
Kay, thanks for having me, dude. I was watching that intro that you gave me, all the cool highlights. One of these days, seriously, before the season's over, your production team should make a low light of me as I come in. Like all like bad plays, sacks getting depleted.
Doesn't
no,
exist.
brother, I know of a couple. We know of a couple.
Listen.
How was your weekend, dude?
My weekend was good, dude. Your weekend was great, too. I wanted to show. I was like, let me show his adorable, I don't know if it was Win or Willow from yesterday in front of the fireplace. Like, you caught her being so cute and adorable with the purity of the holiday season. But instead, I'm going to show you this because it's something that Win or Willow would not do. Look at this little Eagles fan. Did you see this?
I love it, dude. That's incredible. That's the fan base, man. That's why, like, first off, Philly and Buffalo are like two of the fan bases where it's like you just don't mess with them. You don't get in a war with Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
And you got four-year-old kids walking up to grown men, trying to dap them up and give them the bird. Like that's beautiful. That's football. I love that. That's like East Coast ball right there.
Tell me this. When's the last time you actually like gave someone the bird?
Probably
driving, maybe?
20. No, I'm not I get mad, but I quietly get mad in the car. The last time I probably gave the bird was to the referees after I got ejected from the Packers game. Yeah, there's like a photo of me, and I'm like giving the bird because I got ejected from the game for touching a ref, and it was just such an over the top BS. These refs are over the top with they have too much power.
Tell me.
Too much.
Well, let's get into it.
Too much power. Let's do it.
What do you think? Where do you want to start? You want to be like, you want to make Bills fans happy today and give it on the refs, or what do you want to do? You want to talk a little horse collar? What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, the horse collar thing is, that's the kind of, it is what it is. If you have a horse collar, it's very easy to see. He's falling backwards, but there's no horse collar in the pocket. I just think these refs, the issue we've talked about it so many times, is they're leaving so much up for their own interpretation. And to the point where these teams are having to meet on Saturday night saying who the referees are, what they call, what they don't call, and say, hey, make sure, you follow these little rules here and there. And so it's just, I think the NFL is doing their best to make the league safe, but in return, it's like you're also hurting the game in so many ways by these calls that refs can just say, oh, that's roughing the passer. Oh, that's not roughing the passer. It's just wild.
Okay, so then Jason Kelce, we got to get into this because I want to talk about it just from your position. Same game, same stuff, like 2 false starts during the potential game-winning drive before overtime. So that's super unlike him, of course. The Chiefs pinged for the same call late in the game against Philly last week. So they're calling this. Are you okay with these calls in these big spots?
False starts are false starts. Like, I know that's very unlike Jason Kelce. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a guy that, is a stud who's done it for at a high level for a long time. But those were false starts. Hey, if he's flinching, if he's moving at all, like, there had to be something going on with the cadence or something because that's just so unlike him. Now, big block on a draw. They pulled him a little bit. They had blitz coming off the edge. It was huge. But the false starts are just what they are. Like guys get out of their stance fast or they flinch. Like that stuff's just going to happen. So, Jason, it happened for him, but I don't think that's going to be an issue going down the line.
And he made the huge play, like you're saying. Like, let's talk about this pancake block. This man is 36. How?
36 and he moves like a damn tight end. Like he's little. He's little for an offensive lineman, but his mobility, he's got built-in leverage. The guy's a stud for a reason. He really is crushing it, and he's up for World's Sexiest Man or America's Sexiest Man, one of those two. Like what a dub for the entire offensive line community.
What a dub. How worried were you about the Eagles' offense without Lane Johnson? I was worried. And it was so impressive how are they able to do that without him?
That just seems like they got a good group of guys right there. With Lane being out, Lane is one of those dudes too. It's like they have so many studs on the offensive line there, and you can see it. That's why they're running the ball on 3rd and 7. That's where they're hitting draws as many times as they do. Obviously, Jalen, he's got great play ability with speed and all that. But man, like Lane is such a crucial part, and Lane's not a dude that misses games just to miss games. Like he's a guy that we saw last year going to the Super Bowl and has a torn groin and figures out a way to play. So whatever it is, hope it gets figured out fast because he's a guy that. He's probably the best right tackle in the league at this point, or has been for a long time. Yeah.
Bill's side of things look better. I'm trying to be like, okay, Joe Brady, it looks same mistakes. They're losing. They're mad. They're mad at the refs. They're mad at me. They're mad at the world. Are they making the playoffs? Like, is there a world where they don't? What's going on?
I mean, there's a world where they don't based on their record right now, but I see them making it. I see like whatever the change was after the OC is gone, they booted him out of there, said, "Hey, buddy, you got to go." They're putting points on the board. They're having mistakes, but the only thing that's going to hinder them is the injuries on defense. I think their defense is just not as stout as they have been in years past. But Josh Allen looks great. The guys look good. It breaks my heart. Gabe Davis, man,
Oof.
at the end. In overtime, like it was so weird because you see Josh and he looks like he's mad, thinking to himself that Gabe ran the wrong route, and then Gabe gets off on the sideline. He throws his helmet on the sideline. So there was an obvious miscommunication there. I don't think it was just a bad ball. It's just so odd. Like he's right there. He's literally right there. So I would love to be a fly on the wall in that meeting this afternoon where they're talking about it, because that was. Man, that could have been it. But I think they make the playoffs. I really do. And this is so great about the league is 5 weeks ago, we're sitting there going, Bills are dead. So it's over for them. They can't score points. They're not the team they used to be. And now I'm thinking the AFC is kind of wide open in those wild card spots.
It's a mess, and I love it. All right, kind of a mess in Carolina. Got to talk about it. It's the news of the morning. You hate a mid-season coach firing. I don't know if you heard me at the top sort of talk about. I hate that coming after the Bryce Young already, because he's a bust. CJ Stroud's crushing it. Okay, we get it. Whatever. It's the news of the day. What do you make of the firing? I guess, even though I don't think there's much to say there.
I disagree with the firing.
Really?
I disagree. Yeah,
okay.
I think Frank's he's a great head ball coach. When he was with the Colts, every time he played the Colts, they were a team that understood the rules and used the rules to their advantage. They were a great coach team. They were always in their gaps. They understood, the strategic part of football. And so that's the head coach. And so, I don't know about, GM wanted Bryce, maybe Frank didn't want Bryce. Here's the issue in the NFL is, comparison is the thief of joy. When you say CJ Stroud doing what he's doing for Houston, everyone's going to sit there and be like, oh, we should have got that guy. We should have done this. And, Carolina trades up and they go and get their guy. But you got to look at, they gave away their best receiver to the Bears. They have a 33-year-old white guy as their best receiver right now. It's it's tough. And don't get me wrong, Thielen's a stud, but we need time to develop players, which is what Frank has shown he can do in the past.
Right. And
I just think it's unfair when you have a rookie quarterback to say, oh, this is not going to be the guy for us. Because the Carolina, you can't just jump around from Matt Rule to Frank Wright to who's next and who's after that. There needs to be some sort of stability. And that's why I don't like that fire. I think he's a great head coach.
It's super dysfunctional. So if he's a great coach and the leadership at the top is in question right now. No one's going to fire Tepper. Tepper's just got to figure it out and how to empower the right people and get it right. From what you've seen out of Bryce Young, this is Bryce Young without DJ Moore, who really only has Adam Thielen as the one consistent piece. The offensive line is not great. The run game not there to support him. Do you think Bryce Young has it from the things that you've seen?
I think it's too early to tell with Bryce Young. I mean, for all the reasons you just said, if you don't have a good wide receiver core to help him out, the offensive line struggles, there's not a big run game, that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid that's just out of college who's used to having aliens around him. You come from Alabama, you're going to have 5-star guys that can run past everybody and make the tightest cuts on their routes and the greatest offensive line of all time. So it's always going to become an issue in that transition. But that's where the development, that's where guys like Frank Wright do a great job of getting the assistant coaches in to develop the guys. And so I fall back on that, man. I don't think that's the move. I think we go through another offseason. We acquire more guys. We go through the free agency process. We get the dudes we want in there. And then when you look around and say, okay, we have enough pieces to win, then we can start evaluating Bryce Young being a year in there, taking that next step in year 2. I just think, it's such an impatient league. And I think it hurts so many franchises trying to get out of that bottom of the barrel realm.
Yeah.
If you're a bottom tier team, you're so impatient because you see the Chiefs, you see not the Chargers, God forbid, not the Chargers, but you see Eagles, you see the Niners, and you're like, we want to be like them. It's that takes time. You have to slowly build that. You have to get guys like Nick Bosa, like you did, 3rd overall pick
a
while back.
If Bussin' with the Boys had an NFL team, there's a 33rd team allowed, and you had to play this weekend, would you take Justin Fields or Bryce Young to be your quarterback?
Probably Bryce Young. I see Justin's been hurt a couple of times, and I'm not a massive fan of his play. I don't think he's sitting in interviews saying, I'm just going to do me. It seems like I'm just not a fan of that. Yeah. I'll tell you who I love, and it wasn't an option, CJ Stroud, another Ohio State guy. But I'd probably take Bryce just for the sake of it's his first year, and you can kind of chalk him up to that as like, okay, first year woes. Yeah. We don't have a team around him, and we can develop this guy.
Yeah, it's just I'm still seeing a lot of like today I was thinking about like in the morning I was seeing a lot of like is Justin Fields the answer in Chicago, and I'm like, are we still having this conversation? Like I don't know what's going on with it, but let's talk about good things like C.J. Stroud. Okay, like what you're saying. I love the future of the AFC South. I love Trevor Lawrence saying like I wish they didn't have him. He's really great. That's going to be tough for me the next couple of years. I mean, the Texans had a chance to at least tie the Jags. 34 seconds left in the game. They missed that field goal. If you're DeMeco Ryans, would you have put your faith in your backup kicker who's never made a kick from 50 plus, or put the ball in CJ's hands on 4th down?
I think it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I think CJ's shown so many times that he can go down the field and do it. But at that point in the game, that last 2 minutes, Jacksonville, Josh Allen specifically, was getting to the quarterback in a hurry and there was not a lot of time for him to get the ball out. You know, you got to take that risk. You got to take that chance, because if you're in that fourth, I believe it's 4th and 7. If you're in 4th and 7, and that's a lot of yards. I mean, on 3rd down, you're like, you usually get that maybe 50% of the time if you're top in the league. So,
Oof.
you got to trot them out there and hope for the best. You're in a dome. There's not a whole lot of wind. You just got to hope to God, prayers up. And it just didn't work out in the situation.
Tiki Barber losing his mind in the booth when they sent the field goal unit out there. But Houston's just on the outside. They're looking right in there. We are both big C.J. Stroud fans. Do you see the Texans as a playoff team? Because if you look at it, the Texans, they're favored to get a playoff spot. They're minus 118 right now in FanDuel. And they got a matchup with the Broncos next week, who I mean, the Broncos are making the playoffs.
Broncos have won 5 in a row. Sean Payton's really showing to be that guy again. Russell Wilson's finally cooking the danger, which might actually come back eventually from Subway. But I think, yes. Yeah, I would have to look at all the Houston Texans record. I know they play the Titans twice, and the Titans are just in a tough spot right now. So you got to assume, they win one of those games.
Can we see the AFC wild card? Can we see the playoff picture, guys, for Taylor? Go ahead,
yeah,
Taylor.
Can we check that out real quick?
There we go.
No, I think the Browns are tough. I think the Colts they're not as good as their record says right now. I could definitely see the Texans making it. I mean, I think that wild card totally moves, and we're looking at Texans, Broncos, Bills. I think the Bills are showing their way. I think the Steelers, I have no idea how they have this many wins. I have no clue. There's good defense and TJ Watt. Yes.
I mean, it's literally just Mike Tomlin, I think, a little bit. Okay, so I want to get to a couple of things. I know you have to go. Speaking of the Steelers, we got to get to Diontae Johnson. You saw it. So, I mean, come on. He's going through the motions. It's obvious. It's a turnover. Right. The internet not happy. He also reportedly got into a heated argument with Minkah Fitzpatrick last week. Pittsburgh gets the win. We're asking how. This play didn't help him get the win, I guess. But what do you make of this?
I think, as a gentleman who is in a podcast, that literally our phrase is for the boys, and I would hate to soil anybody, but that is disgusting. That play, it should never, ever, ever be tolerated. Even if it's like, hey, it's an inside zone run, you have the corner, the corner's man on you, just go put your hands on him and put a little bit of effort. Like, you guys are in the hunt. You guys are technically in a wild card spot right now, and that's gross. And the fact that you're getting an argument with Mika, to me, that's like, well, your ego is just in the way. Mm-hmm. Your ego is just in the way, because effort, you can't teach heart. You gotta have that. He's a talented individual. He's a talented football player, but that's the kind of stuff that's the stuff that just gets you beat.
Right. So what do you do? What do you do? Like, if you're Mike, what do we do with him?
Oh, if I'm Mike, I'm in that team meeting room the next day, and I'm just playing it. I'm not saying a word. I'm just playing it over and over again, back and forth, making the whole room uncomfortable. Like, is he going to say anything? Is he going to do anything? And just take a deep breath and be like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we looking at right now? Is this what we want to be? Is this? And then just, it calls for that. That's what football is, man. It's keeping people accountable. You have 11 guys in the field. Everyone's got to do their job. And there's literally a fumble. If that would have been a gross play, he fumbles, he gets a 3-yard gain or whatever it is, and then it's over. But he fumbles, and then he watches the turnover, and he hits like this BS fat guy trot as the guys are running. It's just
can't do a fat guy
bad.
Trot.
It's bad ball, and I hate that. I literally makes my skin crawl seeing that kind of effort.
I mean, does it make you want to flip the bird at him? Because we found the footage. Here it is. Do we have it?
Oh, this is a different one, but yeah, this is
you did it
Jacksonville.
Twice?
Jacksonville. Yes, I got a stinger in the old neck there, and I see that's Thursday Night Football, and I saw it, and I got fined $30,000 for that.
I don't see you flicking anyone off. I didn't see it.
Thank you.
You did it, Taylor.
Yeah. No, you just pop it up. 30,000, bink right there.
Oh my gosh, Bink.
Yeah,
It's censored. I didn't see that. Okay,
Yeah.
now I saw it. All right, well, there's that. We're gonna give you just a little, as much time as you'd like. I know you've got to get out of here, but the floor is yours because you've been waiting. Not so much in silence, I'm sure, but we want to give you your moment for your alma mater, for Michigan, for the boys, for everyone, and how it felt to be back at the Big House for a third win in a row versus Ohio State, and at this crucial time in your history.
Yeah. I love it. Listen, that weekend in November is the biggest weekend in all of college, of all of sports. It's the biggest rivalry in all of sports. And for the last 20 years, before these last 3 years, Ohio State has owned us, and I will give them that. We won. The last time we beat them was when I was in school in 2011. Allegations come out. You guys are cheaters. You guys are this. Ryan Day is crying in the corner, sending out private investigators saying, hey, they're cheating. Find out they're cheating. And now with an interim head coach, we beat Penn State, Maryland, which was actually the scariest game of all three of these, and Ohio State. There's no more excuses. The league, the Big Ten, the NCAA, they can cry all they want, but Michigan is legit. And we got our fearless leader, Jim Harbaugh, back, who lives. If you watch one of this man's press conferences, I know you're not a college football gal. You're not into it, but Jim Harbaugh lives for the awkward moment. He'll sit there, mouth wide open, stare off in the distance, and give you an answer that has nothing to do with the question you asked him. He lives for the awkward. That's his realm, and he is going to continue to do that. And I'm telling you right now, don't blink, because in the middle of January, we'll be looking at Michigan as the national champions.
You love to hear it. I needed to text Diontae Whitner and give him a little smoke. He was not happy with your comments about Michigan and Ohio State last week. Taylor, we appreciate you so much. You can check him out, of course, on Bussin' with the Boys, where Bryce Young will be starting over Justin Fields next week in the NFL if you guys had a team. You're the best. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Appreciate you, Kay.
See ya.